All right, I think we have 8. Oh, no, we need Counselor Holmes. Jim, can you hear me? I'm going to start.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, can everybody hear me okay? call this special meeting of the City Council to order at 7:06. So this is going to be even shorter than I thought it was going to be because we don't have 8. We're going to have to post. Steve will have to post for another special meeting called for by me tomorrow morning.
Mark,
Yep.
that President Cooper, Councilor Holmes just asked for me to send her the link. So I don't know if that's helpful or not, but
We have 8, don't we?
but we got Ty, right?
No, Ty's 9. We have Kate, Kathleen, you, Peter Blair, Laura, Jay,
We got 8.
Rick, and
So
Todd.
yes. So somebody else will have to do the emergency. Who else is on ordinances, elections, and legislative?
Kathleen and Kate.
Right,
Kathleen and Kate.
Kathleen, can you do the second motion on the polling places? Do you have that motion in front of you or at your computer? You can get it?
I do.
Okay, so that's what we'll do. That's how we'll do it. So the meeting was called to order at 7:06. Mr. Withers, would you kindly read the notice? And Councilor Dolan, would you kindly text Councilor Holmes and tell her never mind?
August 4th, 2020, 2 members of the Honorable Municipal Council from Paul Haru, Mayor. Councils, by authority of Article 3, Section 3-5B of the Attleboro Home Rule Charter, I hereby call a special meeting of the Municipal Council as follows. Date, Monday, August 10th, 2020. Time, 7 p.m. Place, remote link. Purpose, change of Ward 3 polling place and other matters that may legally come before your honorable body. Sincerely, Paul Haru, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Withers, would you also kindly take a roll call vote attendance, please?
Mr. Blair,
yeah.
Ms. DeSimone,
Here.
Mr. Conti,
Here, present.
Mr. Waterman. I guess he doesn't count. Vice President Jackson,
Here.
Mr. Delissio,
Present.
Mr. Kobus,
Here.
Ms. Dolan,
Here.
Here.
Ms. Reynolds, Ms. Holmes, President Cooper.
Here.
8 members are present, 3 are absent.
Thank you. Would Mr. Withers, would you kindly read the mayor's communication?
Certainly. August 10th, 2020. Dear Municipal Councilors, I respectfully submit a communication from Election Office Manager Cheryl Perry requesting the approval to move Ward 3 and Ward 5 polling locations under Mass General Law, Section 11, Chapter 115 of the Acts of 2020 due to the space restrictions with COVID-19. Both the Election Commission and the School Committee have approved the proposed changes. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body approve the change of Ward 3 polling place to Willard Elementary School, 32 Watson Street, and Ward 5 polling place to Peter Thatcher Elementary School, 160 James Street. In accordance with Article 2, Section 2-9B of the City Charter of the City of Attleboro, I respectfully request your honorable body to consider this as an emergency measure. Copies in your packets.
Thank you. Ordinances, Elections, and Legislative Matters Committee, please.
For your information, early voting for the state primary will move from City Hall to Peter Thatcher Elementary School, 160 James Street.
Ordinances, Elections, and Legislative Matters Committee, please.
I respectfully request the approval of your honorable body to expend insurance proceeds for the fire damage that occurred at Attleboro High School on August 2nd, 2020. In accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53, your authorization is required since the proceeds are expected to be in excess of $150,000. While immediate mitigation and safety measures have been taken, it should be noted that repairs cannot be authorized until the Municipal Council approves the expenditure of the anticipated insurance proceeds and should be considered an emergency measure. Please note the school department sought and received an emergency waiver of public bidding laws for these repairs through the Division of Capital Asset Management and Maintenance. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to authorize the expenditure of insurance proceeds for this loss from Fund 2501 insurance proceeds. In accordance with Article 2, Section 2-9 of this B of the City Charter of City of Attleboro, I respectfully request your honorable body to consider this as an emergency measure.
Capital Improvements and City Development Committee, please.
Sincerely, Paul Haru, Mayor.
Thank you. We're moving right along to committee reports. The first committee that I'm going to recognize this evening is chaired by Councilor Conti. Councilor Conti, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President.
reporting for capital improvements and appropriations, capital improvement and city development committee. Sorry. I wish to read an emergency preamble from the docket of August 10th, 2020. I move that the Attleboro Municipal Council vote to take action as provided in the city charter, section 2-9B, regarding the need for approval to expend insurance proceeds for the fire damage that occurred at the Attleboro High School on August 2nd, 2020. In accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53, council authorization is required since the proceeds are expected to be in excess of $150,000. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to authorize the expenditure of insurance proceeds for this loss from Fund 2501 insurance proceeds. Calls for a second.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Jackson.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any additional questions, Council Conti, on the emergency preamble?
This is just to be able to take it up as an emergency measure. Certainly a fire is an emergency, and I would urge my councilors to vote in favor.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, a roll call vote is required, and we'll begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. DeLisio,
Yes.
Mr. Kobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. Council
Thank you,
Conti.
Mr. President. Now for the emergency measure. From the docket of August 10th, 2020, I entertain a motion to approve the emergency request of the mayor to expend insurance proceeds from Fund 2501, insurance proceeds for the fire damage that occurred at the Attleboro High School on August 2nd, 2020, in accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53. Council authorization is required since the proceeds are expected to be in excess of $150,000.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Councilor Conti.
So I did look up the law, and what the law states is that essentially up to $150,000, the administration can do what they need to do in an emergency. And since this is over that, it's going to be quite substantially over that, it needs our approval. So what we're voting on is simply to move $150,000 or more from Fund 2501 insurance proceeds, and then the money will be replaced when the insurance company makes their payment. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, a roll call vote is required, and we'll begin with Councilor Dolan.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
Mr. Kobus,
Yes.
Mr. DeLisio,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
President Cooper,
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes the business the Capital Improvements and City Development Committee has to bring before the council this evening. We look forward to a meeting on August 18th.
Thank you very much. Councilor DeSimone, and Councilor DeSimone, before you start, it's from the docket of August 10th. I think
Yes.
we talked about that before you joined.
Yes, duly noted. Thank you.
Thank you.
President Cooper, on behalf of the chair, Councilor Holmes, I would like to move forward in the Ordinance, Election, and Legislative Matters Committee, the following emergency preamble. I move that the Attleboro Municipal Council vote to take action as provided in the city charter, section 2-9B, regarding a time-sensitive emergency to approve the move of Ward 3 and Ward 5 polling locations under MGL Section 11 of Chapter 15 of the Acts of 2020 due to space constrictions with COVID-19. The change of Ward 3 polling place to Willett Elementary School, 32 Watson Street, and Ward 5 polling place to Peter Thatcher Elementary School, 160 James Street.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order, and this is for the emergency preamble for the council to declare it an emergency. Any additional questions or comments, Councilor DeSimone?
I think it's self-explanatory. The only thing I would emphasize is that time is of the essence, which is why we're doing this tonight.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, a roll call vote is required, and we'll begin with Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair,
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Vice President Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. DeLisio,
Yes.
Mr. Kobus,
Yes.
Ms. Dolan,
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
President Cooper, if I may, I'd like to now present the emergency measure from the docket of August 10th, 2020. I entertain a motion that the Attleboro Municipal Council, as an emergency measure, approve the change of Ward 3 polling place to Willett Elementary School, 32 Watson Street, and Ward 5 polling place to Peter Thatcher Elementary School, 160 James Street.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any additional questions or comments, Councilor DeSimone?
No, President Cooper.
Any from the council? Seeing none, a roll call vote is required, and we'll begin with Councilor Dolan.
Ms. Dolan. Mr. Cobus. I'm sorry. Mr. Cobus?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. Sorry. I didn't hear. Am I out? Am I?
No, you're in, Steve. He said yes.
Okay. All right. Mr. Delicio.
Yes. Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Ms. DeSimone.
Yes.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Thank you, President Cooper. That concludes the business of the Ordinances, Elections, and Legislative Matters Committee for this evening. We look forward to the next meeting on August 18th.
Great. Thank you very much. And that concludes the business for this evening. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Mr. Withers, would you kindly take a roll call vote on the motion to adjourn?
I certainly will. Who do you want me to start with?
Councilor Blair.
Mr. Blair.
Yes.
Miss,
Yes.
Mr. Conti.
Yes.
Vice President Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Delicio.
Yes.
Mr. Cobus. Mr. Cobus. Mr. Cobus.
I think he's trying to get back. There he is.
I'm back. Yes.
All right. Ms. Dolan.
Yes.
President Cooper.
Yes.
8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Good
Can I
night.
just,
See you in a
President-
week.
President Cooper, can I say one thing before you go?
Of course.
I just want to let everyone know I'm taking Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off this week. I will have all the motions. There's very little for next Tuesday on the 18th
Okay.
because we voted almost everything out in July. But I'll email everything to you. I'll put hard copies in everyone's mailbox. If you have any questions, just let me know when I'll be back on Monday. We'll go from there.
All right. I'll call you Monday too, Steve.
All right, Mark.
All
Good.
right. Thank you. We are
Yep.
adjourned at 7:18. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
See you
Thanks,
guys
Steve.
next week. Bye.
See you
guys.
later. Bye-bye.
Bye.